From the early 1950s to the late 1980s, the drinking water supply at the Camp Lejeune Marine Corps base in North Carolina was heavily contaminated with toxic carcinogenic chemicals. After the contamination and its extent became public, the federal government responded by initiating extensive testing and numerous scientific studies to determine what impact the contaminated water had on the long-term health of base residents and employees. The most significant of these public health studies at Camp Lejeune was done by the Agency for Toxic Substances and Disease Registry, which is a branch of the CDC. The ATSDR performed Camp Lejeune mortality studies using medical records for over 150,000 former residents and employees of Camp Lejeune during the contamination period. The ATSDR mortality studies found strong evidence that the contaminated drinking water at Lejeune was associated with an increased risk of kidney cancer and bladder cancer. The rate of kidney and bladder cancer among Camp Lejeune personnel and employees was over 3 times higher compared to the control group. For study participants with the highest level of exposure to the contaminated water at Camp Lejeune, i.e. people who worked or lived at the base for the longest time periods, the rate of kidney cancer death was 41 times higher compared to the control group. In the past, victims of the contaminated water at Camp Lejeune have not been able to get compensation for their injuries because of a strict law in North Carolina. Now, however, Congress is on the verge of enacting a new federal law called the Camp Lejeune Justice Act, which will give victims of the water contamination at Camp Lejeune the right to file a lawsuit against the government for their injuries. If you lived or worked at Camp Lejeune prior to 1987 and have been diagnosed with cancer, contact our office today for a free consultation.